till I die, Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die.
Hello and welcome to the regular Wednesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID, Tottenham Till I Die. Tonight we'll be talking about our two recent wins actually and two clean sheets as well. We'll be getting to the game. I've got a debutant on in Gary Ward, who actually runs Project Spurs, I think with Callum on XCOM. So guys, those who watch us on playback, please go over there, give them guys a like, subscribe, and retweet their posts. Right, so Gary, mate, right, I hope this is the first of many times we have you on the show. How are you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I hope so too. Appreciate the time having me today. I was getting into that intro music actually. Then I was bobbing my head away behind the scenes. That was great. But yeah, I'm doing really well. Good performance last night. Got in relatively late, about midnight last night after the game. But always good getting home late when you've had a victory, and especially in the Champions League as well. So yeah, pretty good so far. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's less straining. I was at the game high up in the East End. Kev Clark was there. Crowd was a bit disappointing for Champions League. I mean, they charged me £70 for that ticket, which is just they're taking it, aren't they? You know what I mean? I'm like charging the stat. You want to fill the ground and have an atmosphere. Although the South Bank were in pretty good song, South Stand were in good song. I mean, but we need more flags around. They should take a leaf out of Newcastle's book. There's flags all around the ground, aren't there?
Yeah, I went to Milan actually quite recently to watch Inter Milan play, and there's flags everywhere. They have a real diehard section behind the north goal, I think it is. I hope it is, because it's not north or south, because AC Milan get one side and Inter Milan get the other, and they've got flags everywhere. And I went to Atalanta as well. It's just outside Milan in Bergamo, and again the same. Just there was these massive flags, and they just didn't stop shouting and chanting the whole way through. Bit like Slavia Prague last night, really. They're a real good support that they brought down, and fair play to them. But yeah, and some of this season's games have been a little bit disappointing in terms of noise levels. I just hope that as we get more used to Thomas Frank and his play, and hopefully things progress, that the noise levels might get a little bit bigger, and it's a more difficult place to come to, rather than just being the place that keeps on giving. At the moment, before these last two games, we were the gift that keeps on giving. If you come to our home ground, we're going to give you a gift, and that's a goal or two. So yeah, slightly disappointing really in that sense, but it was nice to see Songy anyway. Songy come out. Thought he got a great reception, as he deserves.
Yeah, that was good. Let's talk about his homecoming. Then I was going to bring it up later, but it doesn't matter. Did you see the mural? Did you take a look at the mural just opposite White?
I did.
Yeah,
I did. Yeah, I go in on the entrance, actually, entrance 6. I was in last night, so it was basically where I go in. I knew it was there because I'd seen it half being built on Saturday. I walked that way back to my car, and I'd seen half of it, and I thought, at least I know where it is. So yeah, mate, that was the first thing I did yesterday. Walked straight out there, took a couple of pictures and a couple of videos for sort of social media and personal stuff, and thought the mural was fantastic, really well done, and really nice to see him come out. Thought he got a fantastic reception, as he deserves. Thought the video package was great for him, and he made a nice speech as well. And typical sort of songy saying, "Please don't forget me." There's no chance of forgetting him at all. No,
I was wondering if he was going to cry. I mean, for a few of us probably were, but he didn't. He wants to remember. I get that as well. I mean, like, ideally, I'd like to have finished his career at Spurs, but he's still got a bit to give in America. He's smashing it out there as well. I've watched some of his goals and out there from a free kick, and I mean, maybe the league's just a bit too low for him, but then he'll have more fun, won't he? You know what I mean? So, like,
this is it. Yeah, I watch the MLS quite religiously. Actually, it's one of the leagues I follow quite a lot. Me and one of my best friends, big American sort of sports fans. Anyway, so I watch a lot. I watch the MLS quite religiously, and it's not anywhere near the standard that he's been playing in the Premier League, but I think it was probably time for him to move on. And to be fair, it's a nice place for him to go. It's a big Korean sort of community in LA as well. And he's going into a massive, and he's going into a league that's growing, and he's going to be part of that growth. So, fair play to him. And it was nice to see him come home. He deserves everything that he got yesterday. The memorial, the celebration, and the win, the 3 points as well, the 3 points in the Champions League as well. So, pleased for him that he came back.
You'll have to get Steve Silver on, because on Friday I'll do a mainly American show, but it's 10 o'clock in the evening where Ian Meth will be back from his holiday. He'll host Sundays. So Steve Silver, he's into all that American MLS and all that. Like, he's in our WhatsApp group, so you can always or I can get you, if 10 o'clock, I mean, I understand if people in the UK, they should be out on the lash, getting drunk and talking bollocks on a Friday night, basically, like, you know what I mean? Because that's tradition.
The good thing with me is I don't drink, so I don't drink at all.
So you could either go on the Friday show with him or get him on your project. I'm sure he'd come on.
I was,
he's in America as well. He's in California. Steve's in, I think he's in Lansing. He's in Lansing, Michigan. I was
quite interested in doing some MLS stuff next year, actually. So I've only started doing the Project Spurs this season. I'm an events live events producer initially, and decided to take a different route and job, and thought, I'm going to focus some of my creativeness to football and to Tottenham, and
and your love for the club.
And I thought, I'm just going to jump in on that. And then I've got a big love for Serie A, Italian football, and the MLS. And I thought I might start doing a little bit with them. With the MLS just finishing now, it's kind of pointless me starting it at the end. So there's a possibility I might do some sort of, UK-based podcasting for UK fans in the MLS. But we'll see how much this Tottenham takes up, because I seem to be on every show at the moment. So it is taking a lot of time.
I focus mainly on Tottenham and getting all the information. I sort of come at it. We're very fact-based here, and we like to class ourselves as being mature and sensible. But we're critique harshly when we have to, But when we do well, we'll praise. The same thing. But with regard to Spurs, I mean, like, once you sign that contract with your club, it's for life, isn't it? And then, but it's a strained relationship. You know what I mean? And it's a constant, now biting white knuckle run as well, being a Spurs fan. But I think it's the same for lots of other clubs as well.
I think so. Like, all my family are West Ham fans. My dad's a West Ham fan. Unfortunately, I don't see my dad quite so much. But my brother's a Tottenham fan, and then I married into all West Ham fans. So, and they're as passionate as anybody about their club as much as I am about Tottenham. And but we all are, and it's difficult sometimes to support us. I did a video relatively recently of sort of why am I a Tottenham fan, and sometimes I sort of think I'm not too sure, really. But it's just. It's been there your whole life, isn't it? It's always been there, and it's kind of that comfort in a way that you've got that to, even if something is, if your week at work's going a bit shit, and you've got this to look forward to, and it's nice in a way, especially when we win. It's nice. Yeah,
if being a Spurs fan doesn't make you feel alive, nothing else will. You know what I mean? Because it certainly drives you. You get pulled and pillar to post. Right, let's just talk about the game. We'll get your take. What was when you see the lineup? What was your take on the lineup? Happy with it, or?
Yeah, I was quite pleased with the lineup actually. I did I did a couple of podcasts before, and I actually predicted the lineup. The only one I got wrong was Richarlison. I had Kolo Muani in there. I thought Kolo might start, but I understand Richarlison did. He's looking really fit at the moment. It's probably the fittest he's looked for us, actually. I was pleased with the lineup. I thought the back five would have stayed the same as it was against Brentford, just purely because I think we don't have the personnel fit at the moment. So that made more sense. I think Gray played so well against Brentford that he was probably going to start. And then I felt Palhinha probably would come in because he didn't have a lot of time against Brentford. And that's just ticking over. And then I think, Javid Simmons needs to continue this sort of good run he's having. And this, he's looking happy. He's looking like he's enjoying his football, especially after Saturday. So I thought that would be the case. And then, it was Odegaard or Tell really for me, and I thought Odegaard might get the nod. And I was pleased with the lineup. I thought it was good because a couple of changes in there, but not huge amounts like he had been doing. So perhaps we're now starting to see kind of what Thomas Frank's starting 11 is.
Yeah, and we'll get into tactics a little bit later because there's a couple of things on observe. I don't want to be critical because we've won 2 games. There's a couple of things we're not doing that I think we should be doing, but that's just my opinion on that anyway. So okay, we're getting to the game. I normally do a synopsis for people that don't watch the game. I'll do it later. I'll go sort of minute by thing of events that happen, but first we normally discuss the game. You know what I mean? So I mean, what was your take on the game then, really?
I think it's a funny one. We controlled elements of it, but we did look like we could concede. And I thought Slavia Prague were a decent side, solid at the back. They were good in midfield, solid backline. They were kind of a no-nonsense sort of backline, really. There wasn't much creativeness coming from them, but they were very physical. But they really struggled in that final third. The through balls and anything in and around the penalty area they struggled with. And I thought if we'd have played a better side, we might have conceded last night. But as I say, we could have scored a couple of goals. Richarlison should have scored within 30 odd seconds. Odegaard went close, Tell went close, Jez Spence went close. I think Porro went close as well. So there were elements and opportunities to score more. But look, we took the penalties well. We won penalties and we took them. So at the end of the day, as you said just before, there are bits that we can improve on. And I think this is a slow burner for us. And this is a game by game progression. And I thought again we progressed well, and it was nice to get some minutes into legs. Sorry.
Evening, Callum.
Evening, guys. Sorry, I'm late. I want to kill someone at the DVSA over a driving violation. So I either have 3 points or a court date waiting. So that's gonna be fun.
So this was the lineup, Callum. What was your take on it? Any surprises?
Probably what I expected, to be honest, within reason. I knew there'd be some rotation. Paulinho for Bentancur's pretty spot on. Maybe might have saw Sarr or Bergvall maybe come in, but not much different. Obviously, Doggy, we knew from after Saturday's game that he was out for the month. Muani had taken a knock, so he was always going to be hit and miss, and Johnson was out as well. So, and backline, we ain't really got many options, have we? We've got Danso, and we've got a bedraggled Davis who even looked like it yesterday, just sitting on the bench. So realistically, we had to go with a strong backline. It was about getting the points yesterday. So I was happy within reason, to be honest, with that lineup.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm finding though, what I've seen, I've noticed, just think it's not a big critical thing. I mean, we all know football's about getting overloads at the back, in the midfield, at the front, getting them all over the pitch. It's not happening on our right and left-hand flank in the final third, though. If Spencer's playing on the left, his inclination is to cut in. Porros is the same on the right. So when you got Odegaard and Kudus up there, to me, you're not getting the overloads past them. And Kudus is always turns back 9 times at 10 rather than trying to beat his man at the far post. Odegaard started brightly, but he had a quiet game, really. I mean, Gary?
If you watch, there's a new sort of style, I guess, in football now, and it's this. I guess it's called a free roll fullback or a roaming fullback. So what you're seeing with a Spence and a Pedro Porro is they are tucking in, and the reason they're tucking in into the midfield is if they come into the midfield, say Spence goes in, which he did a lot yesterday, he's gone in there with the three, and they only had two in there, so we're on the overload straight away in the middle, so we're with 3 on 2, and then also you'll find that Spence or Porro will end up in the central forward area, and you'll see that quite a lot with Mark Cucurella at Chelsea. You'll see him like popping up with a goal or in those forward areas. And that's a new sort of thing that's come in football the last sort of 6 to 12 months, is this sort of free flowing, or I'm not sure what the terminology is, but I call it like a free roll fullback, where they are bombing on and then moving to create those overloads in areas. So it's 4 versus 3 or 3 versus 2. And I actually had this conversation with someone at the game yesterday. Someone behind me was screaming and shouting. And I said to him, like, I can explain to you what they're doing if you want to chill, because what he was saying was wrong. And he was like, okay, go on then. I said, well, at the moment, Romero's got it at centre back. The reason he's slowed down is because he's waiting for the set striker in front of him to move. So then Jed Spence can come into the area. And as I said that, Jed Spence moved into the area. And it's just slight tactical movements that we're seeing from those. But they are tucking in a lot. And then the problem we're getting is Jed Spence, when he is wide, he's right-footed, so he's then trying to cross with his outside of his right foot, which is causing us issues. Or if he is then cutting in, it's slowing down our attackers. So the balance isn't there at the moment. But my initial thoughts is that we didn't replace Song, and because we're struggling on that left-hand side, maybe Kolo Muani was brought in as that stopgap while Marky Moore went out and got some minutes in these legs at a sort of a quote-unquote lower standard. But obviously with the injuries that we've got to Solanke, he's had to play up front, and Richarlison is not the most consistent of strikers. So there's slight imbalances happening because I don't think the personnel is either fit or quite there at the moment.
Yeah, sounds like a tweak on Ange ball with the fullbacks.
It is slightly, yeah. I think it was that type of fullbacks came in quite early last season. I noticed a lot with Manchester City and a lot with Chelsea at the moment. Chelsea, and if you watch Mark Cucurella, he does it an awful lot. He'll end up in areas in centre midfield, behind the front man, even up front, and that's to overload in those tight areas. So it's just for a man advantage, and then hopefully if they're caught high, you've got a holding midfielder or a centre midfielder that can slot in, and then everyone shifts about. But that's the reason for that they're doing it. But at the moment, I don't think we've got the personnel that's allowing us to play with width and then play narrow when we need to. Because essentially, if you've got the ball, I need to tuck everything in and be narrow, which we can do. But then when I've got the ball, I want to be explosive and go out wide, and we don't have that currently. I think we have it on the right, but at the minute, I think Kudus is getting overloaded too much, and it's becoming so predictable where that ball's going. It's getting easier to defend. But hopefully, once we sort that balance issue out, especially at left back with an additional player, and then someone that can regularly play on that left hand side, I think Kolo Muani would be good. But an additional player, hopefully, then hopefully these sort of changes will come.
Callum, when the fullbacks are sitting back, it seems we've gone from attacking fullbacks to attacking centre backs.
Oh, that's the thing. I like it now because it seems to be that both our fullbacks are, or at least Porro's sitting on the edge of the box, Spence is sitting as the most deep man, as like the last man for a counter attack. Romero and Van der Ven, they just want to attack that ball constantly, don't they? They're always in there, sort of thing, from set pieces, from anything and everything. So no, I like it. I like having centre backs who are scoring more goals than most of our forwards. To be honest, it seems to have a good effect, and it kind of links in with what Gary said, because obviously even with the fullbacks tucking in, it's even allowing, say, you've got a Bentancur or a Paulinho who can cut in there or drop in there with Spence and Porro, and just say Romero to make a utility back four. It's allowing Archie Gray, Van der Ven, all of them to push forward as well. So it's a free flowing defensive and attacking role in the sense of a adaptable inverted fullback, not just like Ange, which was 2-4-2 sort of formation where they would just sit in there and then want to go into a full 10 formation. These ones are adaptable enough to give us this option, but it's what we want. We want goals and attacking intent from all round the pitch, don't we? Because we know our front line has struggled. So if we are getting goals from full-backs, from centre-backs, it gives us another
Saturday,
boost.
Spence went close, right? He went through on goal, should have scored really. Yesterday he could have done the same. Porro obviously similar, and then for the penalty. So our fullbacks are pushing on, and at one point Romero was even up front because he had attacked, and then he stayed up front, and then basically everybody shifted down to cover. It's just all about numerical advantage. It's about if you've got 2 players in that middle, I want 3, and that means I can play around you, and then we can play out. And that's just really what it is. And that's a lot of why they start from the goal kick with the 2 defenders and the keeper. The reason they put it into the keeper is because he can go left or right to either centre back, and he's just waiting for the shift to happen from the opposition, so then he can go into that gap over to his right or to his left, and then we've gained our numerical advantage. It's worrying when we've got it with players such as that we have, where perhaps they're not most competent on the ball. It's okay if you're watching a Man City do it or a Barcelona or whoever, but that's what they're trying to achieve at the moment.
Yeah, I want Spence on the right competing with Porro. I like left-footed players in left-footed positions, and going forward, if you've got the players in the right position, you get that width, you might get that overload in the final third for the crosses into the box, which we've missed a bit recently. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a constant thing. I don't think it will be, but just to give an example, I remember when we lost the first game at the stadium to West Ham, and Vertonghen was out injured. So Alderweireld played his left centre back. He's right-footed, pings a lovely ball. Antonio's come at him, done him, got across him, scored in the corner, and they win. Now, with your shape, if you're left-footed or right-footed, if you're right-footed, you're going to lean this way. If you're left-footed, you're going to lean. And I said at the bar afterwards to a mate, I was desperately looking for a solution while we conceded. I said, I couldn't help thinking that with a left-footed centre-back, we might have prevented that goal. You know where I'm coming from? So, because he would have come into Antonio differently. This is why I want players in the right positions. I want another left-back at this football club. I know we need a left winger. I want another left-back, yeah?
If you think of it, a lot of wingers nowadays cut in, so they're inverted wingers. So if I'm left-footed, so if I was a winger, I'd be on the right cutting in. So in theory, Jed Spence is probably best to play against me because I'm then going on to his stronger foot. So in theory, that works.
Yeah, he marked Sarah out the game doing that in one of them games against Liverpool.
Yeah, defensively.
And then he didn't get played in the away game, which slaughtered me. I thought, why aren't you playing him against Salah again? You know,
as me and Callum say a lot, defensively it works, but attacking-wise, it's struggling because if we've then got a right footer going up on the left-hand side, and we've got a right-footed left-sided player, both are cutting in, coming into the same areas, and as they get to the 18-yard box, they then cut back and try to cross it, and that does restrict Richarlison and Colin Moani or Solanke, because you're getting in position, you're then having to stop, then reposition yourself, and it's just giving time to the defense to get back into their shape. So I agree with you. I think the balance of us at the moment is off. I just hope that we do make additions to the left side. Overall, left-sided winger and a left back as soon as we can, really.
I mean, Callum, it's the same like if you've got a left-footed fullback and you've got a left-sided midfield player and then a left winger, their link-up play is going to be a lot better, right, together than if you've got the right footer there and he goes forward. You've got the left-sided midfielder and a right-footed fullback can get in each other's way, really, because he wants to cut in and like this is why I want balance. I mean, I know there's a lot of fans been screaming for Spence. Oh, he could do a good job on the left. No, but it's not the answer. He can do a good job, but it's not the answer. We can be better with with a quality leg foot.
Remember how it was earlier in the season when Udogie was out and we was trying to play Spence and Johnson there. that was a mess and a half. It was a hot mess. We was okay defensively, but I mean, when they went forward, they'd both be running into each other because they want to absorb the same space. That's the thing. And realistically, you can't have that. You have to have a balance or you don't do it at all. So by having a natural left footer on there, I mean, that's why I think Kulusevski could do something on the left. I think he could be an option there because he naturally wants to play that way. But I don't like Spence on the left. I tolerate Udogie on the left because I think his attacking output's all right. His defensive side is wanting, let's put it that way. But that's the thing. You've got an attacking fullback in Udogie. You've got a defensive fullback in Jed Spence. If you put them two together, you've got a super fullback. But as with all fullbacks, they are good at one thing or another. You don't get these magical reincarnations now, do you? It's either they are attacking or they are defensive. They don't get trained in the same game as people used to. Like, I mean, we've all three of us have played football at some different level, haven't we? Whether it be pub league, whether it be minor youth league, all of that stuff. The basic principles are that you coach to defend first and attack afterwards. Now, with all these systems, it's either you push forward or you push back. That's what I think football's missing. And it's so hard in a modern game to find a fullback who can really do that. Now, obviously, Spurs are looking for a fullback who can do that realistically. Prime example for me is Mickey van der Ven at the moment. If you can find someone who can play like that, who is very good defensively or who can recover enough defensively with speed and who can tackle, you're good, who can then have an attacking intent. There's only a few in the league that I see in that, and one of them's Nico Riley at Man City. I think he has the right attributes of attacking and defence to be able to do something for you. His numbers are very good in that respect. But going back to your point, it's you want natural players on their natural side of playing. So that's why when we see Moani playing up front or on the left, it works. Him being dragged out to the right, it doesn't work. The same with Richarlison. You want him on the left or up top. It's just about having the right personnel in the right positions. And I don't think Spurs this season have had the advantage of doing that much. But we are now seeing more balance where we are getting certain people back from injury to sort of give us that stability a little bit in respect of that.
Gary, I mean, I think I'm a bigger fan of Udogie than Callum is, which is fair enough, right? Because I just think when he was at his best, I thought this player could go and want to be one of the best left-sided midfield players on this planet. And I still think he's got that in him. He's just been hampered with all these niggly injuries recently. And I think he is good defensively because I think he's more physical than Jed Spence is, for a start off with. And he's just power and pace. He's a tank on the left, you know what I mean? So, I'm
a big fan of his too. I'm a big fan of his. I think the hamstring injuries have hampered him. I don't think last season really helped a lot of players hamstring-wise, as we all know. Hopefully there's something that we can get over, but I definitely believe we're a better football side overall from top to bottom when Udogie plays. My concern, and I don't mind Jed Spence that comes in there. I'm very much the same as you. I'd like to see him and Porro being our right-sided contingent. And I don't even mind Porro playing a wide right now and again if we need to for injury purposes, and Spence behind him. It's an emergency. But yeah, I think we need to bring another left-sided defender in that is going to compete with Udogie, that can come in, for rotational purposes. But for me, Udogie is fantastic. But my main concern is that left-sided attack. Odegaard does some decent things, but he's not doing it consistent enough. Kola Mawani, I really like there. But then it comes down to who we would have as our central striker. Richarlison, again, for me, is very, very hit and miss. So, like Callum said, we've got a lot of areas that we need improving. And I think it's just this... we'll get there, but as a Spurs fan, we want it immediately. Or as a human being, I hate waiting for anything. If I want something, I want it like this minute. I don't want to wait. That's just me as a person. It's very similar to like in football, right? I want us to be the best now, but we've got to understand that, we've got January coming up and probably not going to improve a huge amount within the squad in January. And it'll be the summer that we have to see, hopefully, that these improvements come in. But most of this comes down to poor recruitment over a number of years. The alignment from top to bottom has been really poor. We've had every type of manager you can think of to like win now managers in Conte and Jose, and then we're buying them young players to develop when they're not going to develop players. So we've hampered ourselves over a longer period because our alignment with our recruitment and our managers have been zigzags, and we're not straight. Hopefully, now that Johan Lang and Thomas Frank has a friendship or a working agreement, that recruitment is going to be in line. So let's hope that January brings us a nice present, and that he's got.
I think it will. I think it will bring in at least two. Yeah, I mean, we have fouled better in the transfer market, but I agree with you. Our problems go back to Poch when he wasn't back. Basically, if they go back to, it's going back too far actually. And I get the fan base's angst with being impatient. They have every right to be impatient when you're paying the money to go to games that we're paying for. And basically, we're paying a tax just to fund the debt on the stadium and things like that. So to me, yeah. Callum, on some, I mean, Ange has been critiqued a lot on his team selections. I mean, I would definitely critique him on playing Johnson on the left because it didn't work under Ange, did it? Didn't work, and yet you would have thought we'd have known that and not bothered to try it. Plus the fact that if you've got Johnson on the right or on the left, well, if you've got him on the right and you've got Porro, that makes that if Porro's not on his form, and we haven't got a solid across spread three across the midfield, so isn't a right midfielder covering for the fact that Johnson's not going to track back, and we could have the same issue on the left-hand side because Porro's not that physical to get back either, is he? So teams know how to exploit us.
Yeah, it is quite imbalanced when you play them sort of formations because Johnson wants to push so high that he wants to be in that position with when we did have Ange, it was that right angle ball, wasn't it? Left back goes up, cuts across, and Johnson's there to tap it in. We haven't really seen that from him this year, but the principle remains the same, that him and Porro wants to sit on the halfway line or further. Johnson wants to sit on the goal line. So there is an inherent weakness there, I would say, that teams do exploit. So maybe you'd want Spence behind Johnson on the right, but you'd say that Spence has to sit further back and all that. But the problem is it's a false sense of security we're in, I think, at the moment, because we haven't seen what Frank's true 11 is. The last two games have worked well, and probably the last 45 minutes for Newcastle, but we still don't know where we stand because there is a lot of people out there. And I mean, I know me and Gary are wax lyrical about Gray and Simmons. When people are back, them two could fade into oblivion again. That's where I don't know. And it's the same with the fullbacks. It's the same with the right and left winger. It's the same with all these issues that we've got, that we don't know what formation, what style, whether he's going to adapt each game will tell us what we want to see and what we don't want to see. Because if we are going for a defensive style, then are we going to go defensive on one side and attacking on the other side? Are we going to have a complete and utter gung-ho attacking style on both sides and hopefully have a two centre-backs and Paulinia who will drop to make a back three in transition? It's all these different questions that we don't know at the moment because we are, we're in 5 months into the season now, realistically. I, like Gary, play a lot of Football Manager. I, like you, Adrian, sit and watch a lot of compilation videos as well, and we look to try and see different points about games, but I can't see it with Frank yet. I don't know where we are. And like you guys have alluded to in January, we may do business, we may not do. There's an intent to do it, but do we know who we can get out to allow to do it as well? These are all things that are going to dictate the rest of our season. And it's not me poo-pooing and giving a long-winded answer. It's just the fact there is so many question marks as Spurs fans. And it's like we all want to know what's going on. We want stuff here and now. We thought European champions in the Europa League, we would go forward. No, we are in another project. Let's be honest. And we have to stick with said projects now. If not, we will be the same place in 12 months or 18 months. I'd rather stick with it and learn with Frank where he's got to learn his trade in a top game to know what works and what doesn't work. There is a lot of players in there who we don't want. There is a lot of players who we probably don't want, but he actually likes. There is a lot of players who we probably like, who he doesn't want as well. That's where we are, and that will dictate all the style that we see in games.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like in midfield. We know we're all taught when we're young that most games are won and lost in midfield. And you've got to have pace and bite in midfield, even if you pick up the odd yellow card. And I get Spurs fans' criticisms when you're playing Bentancur and Polina. I can get that if you're playing away from home, want to be a bit more cautious. See how it goes, because you can always change things at half time, right? But in home games, we've as you've alluded to well, Callum, I mean, he has changed things at home in the last 2 games, and he had been more attack-minded. Now, will he do that at Forest away? We don't know, right? But we've seen it. We've seen it. Signs of like what I want to see is growth and progress. And like you say, it's been a bit flat. It's been very experimental. I think Frank doesn't know. All right, he's got a 25-man squad. He ain't got to please them all, but he's got to settle down to it. You're allowed 5 subs in a game, not in a game. So he should have, he should have his eyes set on a 16. He should have 16 of them that he knows he can trust. Right? We know Danso's good when he comes on. I mean, we know that if Kula and Madison were fit, but this is dreamland. Without any people coming in, we're starting to. I still think it's a good squad, but Tell and Odebert have got to develop. And I like Odebert. I like Tell. I like their attitudes. They smash it for the French under-21s, don't they? I mean, and these players. They're too good to go out and loan. I mean, they're too good to go in their under-21s. And I think they're too good to go. Others may disagree with me. That's fine, right? Yeah, but I think they're good. But then it's a wait and wait. So we wait another season, and say, oh, they were great signings then. They can be part of the 25, the back end of the 25, though, because you're not going to please. If even Pep hasn't got 25 like world-class players, Slovenia can't even get games there, and he's had 4 starts this season.
Well, that's the thing. The City equivalent is Oscar Bob and Savinho for them to Artel and Odebert. Realistically, you have to have squad numbers, and realistically, our squad is sitting at 20. I'd say probably at 20 at the moment of people that you can rely on, because Kinski and Austin we haven't seen, Solanke, Madison, Kulusevski we haven't seen. Maybe if you take off Takai and Dragusin, you're down to 18. So that gives him 18 available options with 21 under 21 players to back up numbers.
It is actually quite big and bloated, but that's because of a good thing. You've got Gray, Bergvall, Takai, we haven't seen yet. They're under 21s, aren't they? So you've got these extra people in the squad because of that. Yeah.
We've got a lot of younger players. I mean, even Pep doesn't like to have a bloated squad. He's made that abundantly clear. A lot of times he likes to have 22 at Barcelona. He was very much the same way. 22 players. Well, it'll be 21 because there's not going to be an equivalent to Messi. But it was, 2 players that can play in the same position that are going to constantly compete. Tries to do that with Man City, and it'd be nice if we could get ourselves to that similar to that. And like Callum says, we have got some. Unfortunately, they're sort of players that need to be moved on, and it's whether we can move them on, because we have a pretty poor history of being able to sell players for any form of value, really. So it's going to be an interesting. I thought it was going to be an interesting few months anyway. Where before the prior to the Newcastle game, after these 3 results, I think are all positive. Still think it's going to be a very interesting couple of months for us as fans. And I think it doesn't just set out what we're going to do now for the rest of this season. It comes back to what we just agreed with earlier of back with Poch. I think to this recruitment window coming up and this summer, that's going to shape us for the next 3 or 4 years. And we need to make sure that alignment is really right with our management. If we keep with Frank now, or if he does move on in 2 or 3 years' time, that we bring someone in that's still within that alignment. So it's going to be a very interesting sort of few months for us.
I get with a 22-man squad only because you can put your under-21s to add that squad, because you're in 4 competitions usually. Otherwise 22 players around I don't think would be enough to fight on 4 fronts. You need them other young players, and you might only bring one.
How good your younger players are that are coming through, right? Man City like to have recently started to bring some of those players through. Other clubs have, Manchester United were always like highly praised for their academy and bringing people through. Maybe not in the last sort of 12 months, 2 years, but you have to rely on some of them younger players in your academy. If you're going to be spending, some silly amounts of money on buying players for your academy, let alone the facilities, you need to give them opportunities to play in and around that first team. And I think if we can start doing that as well with 22 players that are relatively equal in ability style that can compete with each other, we've got a good sort of basis to grow on.
It took them ages for even Foden to come through. Sancho was sold, wasn't he, from City? They've only done it over the recent years. Nico, like Riley's come in, and that. They've only done it recently. Well, I mean, when Man United did it with McTominay and all that, that was only because they had horrendous injury problems. And I think the last time I looked, which is a couple of seasons ago, but you can Google it if you like, I think something like 3% of academy players in the Premier League actually make it to a member of their 25-man squads, right? Mm-hmm. And we know that most of them are going to come through from the less wealthy clubs, and then the bigger clubs go and cherry pick them. In Europe, it's different. They develop a bit quicker because they haven't got the money we've got, so they throw their youngsters in earlier. They throw them in earlier. That's why I was like, how comes they do so well? Well, because we pay money to like solve a problem, whereas in Italy, there's skin and everyone else. They haven't got the money to solve that problem.
They haven't got the money to go and buy the players like what we're doing. We're going and buying their players that are developed, and we're not developing our own. Whereas we've got that answer in our academy. We've just not got the patience or the balls, essentially, to back what we've got. To say, look, we've got Luca Williams-Barnett in there that can play as a number 10, right? Let's just say, for argument's sake, we haven't got Xavi Simons now. Someone else might have gone, you know what, let's put him in. A Premier League club isn't. Somewhere in Italy, Germany, France, all that, they will put them in and they will succeed. And then we'll end up going and buying them for 60 odd million. It's just because of the money and everything that's in the Premier League at the moment. We're not a league that's really focused on developing. We want to be the big.
And of course, when we bring in another signing, it blocks the pathway for academy player. And I'm one of those. I would love to see Donnelly, Lancashire, Mikey Moore, and Vasquez be promoted. I mean, the two that I think will do it is because Vasquez is smashing it in Germany. He did it in Poland. We bought him for 12 mil as a 16-year-old. Did it in Poland. Did it in Belgium. Now he's doing it in the Bundesliga. So his next step to me is the Premier League. Lancashire, I think, is a natural goal scorer. You see all the 20-odd goals he got in that double-winning season, plus over 30 with the cup games. He brought his copybook. He scored, but he got sent off against Galatasaray. I don't think it did him any favours.
And look, we went and bought him. He didn't come through, right, Callum?
No, he was at Arsenal. He went to Sheffield United, and we paid 2 or 3 million.
Right? So we went and bought a player for our academy to play with him there, and then to hopefully develop and bring on. And hopefully he comes good. I think I was with Callum on one of the first podcasts I did, and I didn't want him to go actually out on loan. I thought he could do us a job in the first team this season. Yeah, he's doing well.
And Donnelly came from Northern Ireland as a striker, and Wayne Burnett converted him into virtually a number 10. And that all conquering season, he's got killer forward pass on him to play someone in, when he's on song. And you want players that are brave that can do that. So he could play in a 10 role, really, Donnelly. But it's such a risk for a manager to blood these players, because if it doesn't come off, they're under so much pressure, aren't they, Callum?
Well, that's the thing. And realistically, the comment that you made about City is so valid. City are the best of the top 6, apart from Arsenal for bringing through youth now, realistically. But if you remember, we had to do it with Poch. We didn't have the money to go and spend all that money. The problem is, now that we spend money, or waste our money, that we flipped it on its head. So the amount of good players that we have lost in that period, who are probably top professionals now. Remember, Noni Madueke was one of ours. Marcus Edwards was one of ours. Yes, they left for different reasons. Marcus Edwards, Parrott as well. That's the thing. And the problem is that it's like David Clark said, our best academy players are out on loan, and they are limited to how many chances they're going to get. Realistically, if we did have the balls to do it, we'd go, right, we've got Ash Phillips, who we did buy in but he could do a job. We should never have bought Dragusin then, and should never have bought Takai. We put in Donnelly and F off Richarlison, or Maddison retires or whatever. You then put in Mikey Moore and you get rid of Kolo Muani or Richarlison. You then put in Luca Williams-Barnett on the right-hand side. And you get rid of, I don't know, Johnson for it. You then bring in Lancashire and Scarlett as your first front men, and then you have Solanke in there with them. You've got Janil Byfield, who's just signed a new deal today, top centre-back, so he's going to pair up with Luka Vuskovic in about 1 to 2 years, hopefully, as our fourth option. That's if you're going to be if you're going to have the intent to do that. I don't think we have the balls to do that. I know that Wayne Burnett has the balls to play them as 21s, but we're either getting them crap loans, and this summer I was very happy with the loans we got. Some of them I look back on and think, Jesus Christ, we should have, what have we done? Donnelly at Stoke, Phillips, Stoke, Yanmin Hook, Portsmouth, not 50-50 on that one. Mikey had to step up and do his stuff. Lancashire at Oxford would have probably preferred him to go higher, but he is doing bits for them. Devine, Preston. I mean, Alfie Devine, one of my most favourite players, won't ever play for us realistically now.
I actually think the injured Paul Abbott's got more chance. He was smashing it at Notts County when he was there, wasn't he? Game went past him in one of the pre-season friendlies. You know, I was a bit disappointed with that. I thought, because you want them to shine when they come in, don't they? You want them all to do well. But
I think as well, there's a big difference in bringing them in.
I thought it was good. Sorry, go on, Gary.
Yeah, I think there's a big difference in bringing them in as having, Nico O'Reilly's come into Manchester City, but he's got 3 world-class players to the right of him, and he's got another 4 or 5 in front of him. We don't have that. So we're expecting them in a way to do us a job, perform and develop, and try and carry us at the same time. Whereas these clubs that are bringing them in are surrounding them with real quality, and they're developing through with that quality around them. I think if we can get ourselves a real basis of structure, I'm a big believer as well with you, Adrian, that a game is won in midfield. If we can get a really, really solid midfield, solid back line, two centre backs, and then we've got a goal scorer, we can start piecing in these younger players to learn off and progress through. But I think the Man City and Arsenal have been successful in that in recent years, is because they've got so much quality around them. If we went out there now and just threw in those players that we've got, that we all like, they're out on loan or in our 21s, we're going to massively struggle because they're just not used to.
Yeah, I mean, I think like you alluded to, if we had a solid midfield 3 and this is like with a ball carrying 8, and you weren't playing with a number 10, if the midfield was that solid, you could throw someone in like Tyrus Hall who can carry the ball forward. But to play him in the number 10, that could so easily fall apart. You've got to win the midfield back.
I speak about Luca Williams-Barnett a lot on my social media, and I'm a big fan of his. I've gone and watched him multiple times this season. And the amount of people that mention me, he should be playing in the first team. I'm probably one of his biggest supporters. He's nowhere near ready for he's 17 years old. He's very, very lightweight. He's incredibly skillful.
How many questions did we have yesterday about him after the game, Gary? And we was just literally he's nowhere near the men's game. He's great, so much, but he's nowhere there.
He's just not ready for that. And if we put him in, he's gonna lose that confidence, and they'll lose that development. And sometimes we do need to be patient with them. We're not traditionally patient people anyway, like we alluded to earlier. It's just one of those. It's just difficult. It's a very, very difficult scenario. It's much easier on Football Manager, I can tell you that. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't mind giving it a go for like 6 months professionally, because that set me up for the rest of my life. But it's difficult. It's a hard job to do, isn't it?
Callum, I tend to find with the younger players, the ones that tend to make the breakthroughs quick, I'm not just saying it because of us, are the defenders. There's probably a little bit less pressure on them. I mean, I know Vuskovic, first game for Hamburg, Bayern Munich went there and spanked them 5-0, but after that hasn't looked back. I think he's got more headers and everything else, and his stats are good. And he scored a wonder goal the other day as well. So I think with defenders, I can remember a young defender, even Campbell, when he came through with Spurs, whose name should not be mentioned, players like that. They've come through. You see them in other teams when they've come through in the Premier League. But it's when strikers come through, like they sort of have to learn their trade. They have to get that guile, that bit of guile you need as a striker to beat a defender and get a chance off. So there's, and you've got to be just quicker, think quicker, have good vision. When I'm watching videos, people say, "What do you look for?" They always look good. I said, midfielders and attackers, I'm looking for players with vision, who move the ball quickly, can make things happen. Simmons has got all of that, right? You see it in him. Moani's got it as well. You see it in players, But yeah,
that's the thing with Simmons. Just as an example, we're looking at someone who's been playing football for going on 5 years at a senior level. That's the thing. It's realistically, he was in La Masia Academy for Barcelona. He's been at PSG. He's been at Leipzig. Now he's at us. If anything, and this is no discredit to us as a football club, but where we are now in the world standings, we are below all of them. Realistically, it is probably a sideways, if not a backward step for him. But he's been playing for so long that he is prepared for that. And he's been through all the trials and tribulations to get to this point where he is now. Realistically, our young players, if it's a forward, a centre mid, a centre back, you don't have the time in the Premier League to either build up. You don't even have the time on the ball. It's that quick, fast pace. And that's the problem with people saying, oh, they're doing well in the under-21s, throw them in the first team. Well, City let Liam Delap go, and he had to go first on loan, then to Ipswich, and then has only just gone to Chelsea, realistically. And he still has a lot of growing to go. There is other players in the Premier League who are nowhere near good enough, who break through and are sold on very quickly. They make their debut, get a bit of value to them, and the top clubs sell them on because us as fans across all the top 6 clubs, we don't have the patience or time. We love a story of someone coming through and breaking through, but we say we love it. But in all honesty, even though I think all 3 of us love the youth game probably more than most, it's still that even we
they're
want
a better
to
watch, Callum. They're a better watch.
Well,
Teams go, they're brave, and I think it's and good. That's what I like to see. They were a joy to watch our under-21s in that all-conquering season when they won both trophies. An absolute joy to watch.
But look how much of that squad got sold. But that's the thing. How much of that 21 squad got sold? Sonset, Bell, all of them. They was Iago Santiago. They was all shipped off everywhere.
Yeah. They went to 2 Spanish second league. One went to Elche, didn't they? One went somewhere else. Yeah, Sonset, Bell, and the Spanish one the kid I liked, I thought would go and do well. The winger, forget his name.
That was Iago Santiago, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, I liked him, you see. So this is when you pick one that don't come through. And because whenever I say, I thought, this kid's good. But
remember, we saw all them years ago under Poch, Rio Griffiths, banging in goals at 18s and 19s level. He went to Lyon, thought the world was great. And I think he's playing like step 6 now. He was playing step 6. He's now gone to the MLS doing some stuff, I believe. But he's pingponged around. It's
I think
so
you can add
difficult
Marcus Edwards into that. I thought Marcus Edwards was going to be something really special, and felt he should be in the first team. Felt he was maybe too good
better
for
than everyone else.
Went out, then stagnated a little bit, didn't he? Fair play. He's now in the Premier League, but he stagnated for a long period.
And then, and I'm all right. Now, if players get a bit like that, like Tyrasol had issues with hands, according to Callum said or whatever, wanted to play in the team. And another one who wanted to jump up beyond. Remember Dylan Marcandy? And he'd never even gone out on the loan. And I don't know who advises these players, what their parents are like or all this, Perhaps they just want money off their kids. I don't know. But you've got time. That's why I like the head on Mikey Moore's shoulders when you're him interviewed. He wanted to go. He knew it was going to be tough at Rangers. Now he's playing more of where he'd like to play, sort of in a hybrid 10-come wing position. And
Vuskovic as well. Vuskovic the same. I want to go out and play. Let me go out and play. Obviously, he's gone where his brother played and before he was suspended, but let me go and play. I'm excited to be at Tottenham, but let me go and play now. I'm not going to get in front of these two. Let me go and develop, and that's a great attitude to have.
Yeah, exactly that. And if Mikey Moore and Vuskovic probably be the first to come back to this team, and you don't want them sitting on the bench all season. There's no point, is there? I mean, this is where the harsh reality is with these young players. Yeah, you're part of the squad, but it's no good if you're sitting on a bench. We can throw you in an under-21 game, but if you've developed, you're beyond under-21s. Vuskovic is, and Mikey Moore is, in my opinion, is beyond that. He's moved up. Okay.
We watched Dane Scarlett at the last 21 game before the break, and he was dreadful. I thought he's gone down. And then he played against, I think, came on against Doncaster, is it, where he won?
Yeah.
It was brilliant. And it just showed the different standards that he was playing at, that he stepped up to different standards, and it actually proved him to be playing with better players. And
he scored against Elfsborg, didn't he? And he scored against Donetsk when Kane scored 4 in his last game, and he got the last one, the swivel. I watched Scarlett as a 17-year-old. I thought, this kid's going to be awesome. He just stood out amongst 22. He really shone, on the pitch amongst the 22. And I think he's going to have to leave this club. And he will he'll have a good career. All these academy kids that might not come through, they're all going to have good careers, But Scarlett, he's a natural scorer. So,
and we're just not giving it the opportunities. Like last night, probably, we're 3-0 up. Let's give him a chance, or in some of the games, give him a chance.
It was bloody pointless bringing on Saar, wasn't it? Again last night, he did nothing. Realistically, Davis, I can see why he came on for match minutes, and probably because Mike giving Porro a rest and all that after taking a knock. But when you look at it, if you're going to do it, then these are the games, because realistically, they're not going to throw them in against Dortmund, because that's a must-win game now. Based on all the points that everyone else has got tonight in the Champions League, it is so tight and all that. People are on the same level of points as us. So
we only need a point to qualify for the playoffs, so virtually.
I know, but it's all a novelty now. And last night, Doncaster, Bodo Glimt were games where you would hope that you can expose these young players to it, because we're not going to do it in the Premier League. I mean, realistically, was that bloated as it is?
I mean, and then you got to decide when to do it. I mean, you take that one-hit wonder, Harry Kane, right? He went out to, I think, Millwall, Norwich, Leicester. Van der Vaart said, he's shit. It was that words. He's like, he's shit. Sherwood gives him his debut. Levy saying, why are you not playing Soldado? And, the rest is history. So you don't know with these players. Some will look good young when they're young and they don't develop. And others are slow developers and they smash it when they get a bit older. So you don't know. I mean, it's not an exact science,
There's always a late bloomer. Remember, we had Ryan Mason come through at 22. We had Huddleston and Livermore come through later on. But the sort of novelty idea now is that if a young player is going to get a debut at 15, 16, 17, they're going to make it. Anything else is they might make it.
We're going to spending 30, 40, 50 million on 18, 19-year-olds, Tell or Bergvall, etc., and we've probably got a couple in there that maybe aren't quite to those levels right now, sitting there under 21s that could have played. But then, like you say, are they going to be late developers? They can be early developers. It's just a really
good argument, that if you can bring in Saar when he was younger, you doggy, you can bring in Gray, you can bring in Bergvall. Why can't you bring in Mikey Moore and Vuskovic?
Yeah.
I mean, I know Vuskovic was only 18 in February, so he couldn't be added to the squad because legal requirements, right? So he's only 18. You can only change in the men's dressing room when you're 18, so you can't even change. But Mikey Moore couldn't when he was getting games.
Yeah, we had a guy like that.
I'm all for that, I'm all for that.
He had to change in a separate dressing room. It was awkward when you were trying to do team talks with them, because it was like you kept forgetting he was in a different changing room. But,
well, it'd be like when Frank passed that note to Van der Ven last night, ain't it? You pass the note over, send a bloke to go and drop it off to the poor so-and-so.
Right, subs last night. Look, our subs bench looks a bit better now. I don't know if you are, but I'm a big fan of Gunter. But I mean, like, we'll see if he develops into a goalkeeper for us.
Again, wouldn't mind him in and around the first team. Not sure sort of Austin's really going to do anything. Might be sort of time for maybe move on. But Gunter's been playing well, decent. Like I say, I think the substitutions were getting that squad sort of back now with the injuries, and got some game changers. You've got some people on there that can change the games. Tell on a day can. Like I say, Scarlett's got a goal in him. Danzo's solid. Bergvall, we know what we're going to get from Bergvall. Sarr. I love Sarr, but the consistency needs to come back. And I'm a big fan of Kolo Muani as well. And it's just he's a 95 million euro player that we've got sat on our bench. So he'll come good the more games he gets. And then we got sort of hopefully a wonder kid there on the last one in Williams Barnett.
So. No, we sign him. I mean, I like Paulinho for what he gives you. He wins more tackles than anyone in the Premier League. But I do wonder with reshaping his side. If you say you could get rid of Richarlison, Basuma's dead meat now, and Davis goes because of retirement at the end of the year, there's such free spaces. Once you go to more than 3, you're starting looking at getting rid of players that fans like, or half the fan base like. Could even be a Sarr, because I don't see Gray or Bergvall going anywhere soon. Not what I've seen. We've seen Bergvall develop. We've seen that in his progress. We've seen Gray in 3 games in midfield what he can do. You might go and notice his positioning, his vision, his passing, his tackling, his heading is spot on. And to come in at 19 and play left back, right back, centre back, and in midfield, to do that and not disgrace yourself. And Bergvall's developed, but to me, he's brave, but at times he does give the ball away in dangerous positions.
He's a bit of a floater, isn't he? He's a bit of a wanderer at times.
He's
I wonder whether it's
he needs a bit of discipline for his position but then he might be given that 10 role to float when Simmons is not in the side, because you see him do those runs across the front 3, and he wanders, sort of pops up anywhere. I mean, Decky does that when he's on the pitch, but he's just more controlled in the way he does it, Yeah. But yeah.
And he's 6 years older, so you kind of hope that, wouldn't you, sort of thing. I guess the difference is that Decky left Sweden, went to Italy with Parma, then went to Juventus and had 3 clubs. Theoretically, we are Bergvall's second club at senior level, if you get what I mean. I know the Swedish youth academies are absolutely outstanding. You can't take it away from them what Elfsborg do, and I can't remember Djurgården as well where he came from, but it's like the levels between that and the Premier League is so huge as well. It does. You've got to mature, and I'm hoping that's what Bergvall will do, sort of thing. But he does need to calm down, and he probably needs to improve more with his feet and also his creativity or goal scoring ability, because I don't know what his true position is yet. Is he a 6, is he 8, a 10, or is he a roaming forward?
Well, I'd like Pauline to be signed, but because this squad's quite big, and if you add to it, you've got to find room. I'm wondering if Gray will end up as a more central defensive midfield. I'm not going to call him a 6 or an 8. I don't like those numbers, because I think he's sort of a complete sort of midfielder. Either that, or I could see the likes, if we get into the season, if it works out, we won't know till the season's end, but I could see a situation, it could happen, it might not happen, whereby if Gray's nailed down a more sort of central midfield position, that we don't sign Paulinho. I could actually see that happening, because the one thing Gray, Bergvall and Sarr give you, they give you legs in midfield. Paulinho's the slowest legs in midfield. He's not going to cover right or left to cut off attacking wingers, right? He's very good at breaking up everything in the middle. Bentancur's quicker than Paulinho, and he's just signed a new contract, so we're not getting rid of him. So either that, or I could see someone like Sarr going for 30, 40 million, or 40 million or something like that. I could see that happening, because
there's someone
doesn't it? Depends who we bring in.
There's someone that Gary's dream pivot, and I know that he won't let me ever forget about it. It's Gray playing as a sweeper deeper, and Walton playing as like the deep line playmaker sort of thing with Simmons in front. I could see it. I physically could see that, and then that still gives you then Bentancur, Sarr, and Bergvall doing another job. realistically.
I think as well that Maddison might start playing a little bit deeper now. We've got Xavi
If he
Simons.
comes
He
back.
might start. Yeah,
If he comes back.
But I think he'll.
That's our hope, at least, ain't it?
For me, that if we've got Bergvall, Sarr, Gray, and then Maddison in there, are we going to need Paolini and Bentancur? No, I think it's going to be one or the other. And
Paolini's on loan. You know,
don't see the reason we spend the money right now on Paolini. I'd rather us go and spend it elsewhere. Though I do like Paolini, I think that Gray's development over the last sort of several weeks has been very good. If he can continue that, I think he's probably our answer there. And then it's another one with him. We got to realise that we want to be competing as many competitions as possible. So we'll need the numbers in there. If we're playing with a 3 or a 2, we're going to need at least 5 or 6 that can play there. So yeah, I think for me it'd be either Bentancur or Paolini that would be the next one. I would not like to see Sarr or anyone else leave, because I think that their ages, they're only going to get better, really.
I can see us in January putting the money down for Kudus' fellow international teammate from Ghana, Anton Semenyo. Well, the reason I've said that, I've said it on a couple of podcasts, is because if other clubs are interested in him, some of them have spent heavily. They may have to wait until after April before they've really got the funds. So we're going to move. I'm not talking about summer. If Enoch want to move, put money down. We didn't spend the 70 million on Slovenia. We had money left over. We put another 100 in there. We've got loads of money. We've got loads of money to spend. I would go and right. You've got your 65 million release calls, activate. You've got the 5 million add-ons, good. Right, we'll give you the 70 mil. Stop fucking about all the add-ons. We'll give you 70 mil for some menu now. And I think as his release clause activated, I think now the player's got to make the choice. He either wants to come. Having Kudus here might have an influence. They might be mates. They might not. Right? But they're in the World Cup together. They're not.
They seem to take the piss out of each other on every single video that Ghana released. Yeah. So I mean, they seem all right.
I would love to. I think if there's any intent from sort of the new people in charge, that they're already doing that now. I think that January 1st, January 2nd, instantly needs to go in and say, boom, there's the money. We want you. And this is what we're going to give you. And then it's down to him. Hopefully he takes it up. But there's going to be a lot of people that will want him. So hopefully he comes to us, because he definitely will
have the money in January. That's the thing. Will they have the money in January? This is why we should move. We've got the money. This is why we got to move in January. I mean, Slovenia isn't getting the games at Man City. He comes on at sub. He's had 4 starts or something. I would even the likes of Rodrigo wouldn't want to come to us. You could go to him and say, look, come to us on loan. We'll take you on loan till the end of the season. Then you might fall in love with the club, because he wants Brazilian football. He wants to be in the World Cup, and he's not Alonso's favourite, is he, at the moment?
No.
And I think a 70 mil bid would get him as well, actually. So there are
he started tonight. Rodrigo. He started tonight for he scored as well. He scored the first goal. They did lose 2-1 to City, but he scored, Rodrigo. So that might help him. And obviously Xabi Alonso's under a lot of pressure as well. It's reported that he's going to get sacked after that game. So who knows what might happen. For me, it's Semenyo. It would be the one who's proven in the Premier League, but I think he's going to have a lot of people interested in him, and let's just hope that we're an attractive option for him, and we can promise him stuff that maybe others can't, which is just game time.
Well, the problem is apparently tonight that contract terms have been agreed between Semenyo and Liverpool, and also Man City as well. So now it's down to them to trigger the club, and then it'll be up to him to decide who he wants to go to. I think Semenyo's a not a smokescreen, but sort of what's the best way of putting it? A
ruse.
Well, not a ruse, but a stab in the dark. A matter of intent, but
a long shot.
We could activate the release clause, but it'll be down to the player saying no, because he'll probably have better options, which unfortunately
that's if the other rumours are true. I mean, I like that at Croatia, Monaco played against us, but if Madison's coming back, Deco's back, and we've got Simmons, I don't see that happening. Right? I don't see that happening at all.
You're not wrong though, because from what I heard the other day, there is an option that the club may look to sell Johnson So do you bring in Akliouche to play on the right-hand side and compete with Kudus?
He can
Yeah.
play on
There
the
is
right
that
central.
option there.
I wouldn't mind Decky on the left either.
He's 23,
Decky.
24. I think Akliouche, isn't it? He played ever so well against us against Monaco. They should have spanked us outside. What about Vlahovic? Would you take him? I like the player, but
I think you know my faults. I wouldn't touch him. I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole. I'd beat him with a barge pole. I think he is the epitome, the same as Jonathan David is this year, of a complete and utter waste of time and money, to be honest.
yeah. I mean, there's been a bit of noise about Samuel Aguoa from Porto, but he's only 21. He's been smashing it in the Portuguese league. But so was Cunha right before he went to Arsenal, and he's still finding his feet there. So
this is why we should be looking at people within the Premier League that we can get. That
we'll give Lancashire a go.
Yeah, they've got experience, and like if we can replicate Kudus and find him within, I mean, it's 55 million. I thought it was an exit, or 50 million, 55, whatever it was. Fantastic deal for what he is. If we keep replicating that, and I thought we had it with Morgan Gibbs-White, to be fair, but if we can keep doing that, people that are proven in the Premier League or have played for a number of years, I think that's even better for us to help with the development of these younger players. I know this guy wants us to, on your thing, to mention one of the guys that plays for Marseille. He'll never come to Tottenham.
He is blacklisted in England. He will never come back.
He's mentioned him about 3 times now, so that's it's not going to happen. And I'm not going to mention it.
Go through the chat. And while there's 4 of you watching on various platforms, if you like our mature and sensible content, fact-based, please hit that subscribe button, please. We're a small group, but we are growing steadily. Hit that subscribe button and give the videos a thumbs up, because it does help the algorithm. It is free, guys, and it only takes a second. So please hit that subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. And our shows go out usually a Tuesday or Wednesday according to European football, but every Friday and Sunday as well. And EMF should be back to host Sunday if he's not boat legs, because he's been on a cruise. Yeah, we know about the yellow card, the third one. I've got the yellow card list up. I've got a yellow card watch as one of my banners. If you saw Klein, let's see. Yeah. Yeah, he had a loan at Wealdstone, and he conceded so many goals there, like Wealdstone goal. Yeah, but in fairness to him, in fairness to Sarr, I mean, he had a brilliant pre-season. He started brilliantly, and then he was dropped for no reason. On this, while I'm going through the chat, guys, your comment on, there's been a lot of critique on Frank on the rotation. But look, some people say, you just play the same 8. But you could probably play the same 8 for 4 games, but then you got to rest them, really.
Kudus for me is looking tired as well. A lot of stuff's going through Kudus. He is looking tired, and it's going to happen to a lot of the players that are playing every 3 days, 4 days. So we need to use the squad. I do believe we do need a set formation and an idea on those players.
And I think we set system really for the players that come in when they rotate. A set system. Let me take Porro. He played over 60-odd games last season. He's been away with Spain. He's hardly had a rest. He weren't too bad yesterday, but a few games before he's been poor. You know what I mean? So,
Adrian, I'm going to have to jump. I've got a work call coming in. Is that all right, mate?
Fine. Thanks for coming on,
guys. I'll speak to you later. Take it easy. Bye.
Wicked as he wants to scump. Yeah, I've heard him being criticised by Arsenal fans. Only turns up every 3 games. Yeah, that's how Meriscope it is. Right. Beast. Big up, Beast. That's just rumours. Look, his contract's for another 3 years. Don't worry about it. They'll be on the case. They want to give him, rumour is they want to give him parity with Osname. Hoddle hinted how he might want to sign, but you don't know how much is taken out of context. He's won a cup with us, so they're well happy. Right.
I think David makes a good point there on Semenyo, that it's likely in the summer there's going to be another new manager there, and is he going to want to go now where it's it's up and down? And if they get some money for Salah in January, which is reported for Saudis, then they might use that on Semenyo. But is he going to want to go? I think probably the money might be on going to City. But like you say, they're stacked in those wide areas. So
Yeah,
I think
and
he's going to go where the best opportunities to win things are. And are we that option for him right now? Probably not.
I'd get City wanting to make as much movement in the January transfer with them because they still haven't had the verdict on their 115 plus charges. In the worst case scenario, I mean, if you're guilty, one thing that should happen, first of all, because you've gained by transfers, you should face a transfer embargo, in my opinion. That's the first. Fines are useless. Then you're talking about points deductions as well. In a worst case scenario, because this goes back to Pellegrino and Man City with them, you're talking relegation, you know.
Oh, yeah. I think relegation is the least that they should expect.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. And Chelsea have admitted guilt in their 74 charges, so they're going to get busted. And then you've got to look at it, Gary. I mean, like, look what Everton and Nottingham Forest got for minor infringements. The points deductions they got for minor infringements, you know.
Yeah, so, I think with Chelsea actually
injured Norm.
Reported themselves, didn't they? Because it was the previous ownership, so they actually reported themselves.
So they're going to get done. It's a question of how much they get done.
I think what I read with Man City, with Chelsea, is that they found it in their own accounting. This was on the Athletic, so it's, very reputable people reporting it. Well, they found it, reported it, and then actually just paid a fine for it because of that.
There are 4 sets of charges. So a lot of these charges are multiple, right? Just to make sure. And one lot with City, one lot are over the European with a statute of limitations run up to 5 years, but you haven't got statute of limitations in the Premier League. Right? So with City, go back to payments by third parties to Pellegrini, Man City, third-party companies. They got off the sponsorship thing, I think. They got off of that, but that was totally separate to these charges. So, and we know, to me, Rick Parry and his cohorts in the legal team should be all sacked, in my opinion, because like they've wasted 30, 40 million on legal cases and they haven't got absolutely nowhere, you know. So the rules are going to be changed now next year. So coming in. Anyway, we'll wait and see how that pans out. I'm sure we won't hear nothing. We're told we're going to hear something in November. I don't think you're going to hear nothing to the end of the season. And wouldn't that be ironic if City had a points deduction and Arsenal won the title, through that? I mean, like, it wouldn't be satisfactory, I mean, I wouldn't want our League Cup win against Man City because, like, they've cheated, you know what I mean? Because it's just all right, So
make it right, does it? It's the same in Italy when the whole Juventus and AC Milan debacle. Some clubs took it and some clubs didn't want it, and I don't think I would. Look, we lost.
I wouldn't want it. Just stick an asterisk by them or something like that and cheats, But you could. But it just means that Chelsea fans who admitted they've cheated, not the fans, the club. I mean, you're always at the mercy of your owners if you're a fan. But it just means that no Chelsea fans ever going to win an argument with me because I'll just say, well, all that time under Abramovich, you were cheats. And before all this stuff come out, he wasn't even allowed British citizenship. And governments and our secret services, they sit on these people. They only move on when they have to. So they know all this money laundering is going on and stuff like that. But they don't move unless it suits them to move. When it becomes, it's the right environment for them to act, they did. And like, you don't leave a football club and give up 2 billion without a fight unless you're told, if you don't leave, you're going down. You're going in prison. So now I think he's in Turkey, Abramovich. So it's just crooked. Right, let's whistle through the game. 2 minutes, Odebert cross, Richarlison shoots. This come off Stanic's chest, didn't it? High up, I think.
It's about 40 seconds, I think. It was really early, wasn't it? Very, very early. So he should have scored. I think any other striker is putting that away. Kane's putting that away, and I think that's the difference really with Richarlison. He's improving. He's looking fitter than he ever has. It's just, unfortunately, he's not our answer.
He's got great stats this season. He's up there with the best strikers in the Premier League, but I don't trust him over a long period of time. He's streaky, like I say, it's consistency with him. My seat, I'm like nearly on the roof, basically. I'm up on the east end. I'm right next to the south stand, virtually 1 block in. But I'm dead parallel with our goal line. So I love it when we're kicking down our end second half. So this, I didn't see him hit him in the face. I mean, but this is what I got off the stats thing on One Football. Catches Chitterley on the face. If he did, yellow card, this header over. This was a clear header. He was in space. This was right down my end. I thought, how comes you couldn't even get this on target? Like, you know what I mean?
Is that 6 yard box? 6 yard box,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
It's about
Like I said,
7 yards out or something.
like I said at the beginning of the show, I thought that defensively they were solid, as in they were physical, but they really struggled in that final third, and this was like the biggest, red flag to that is they really struggled in that, and they should be putting them away. And I think if we're playing anybody else, they're putting that away. So we got off lucky on that one, and one other, I think, off the top of my head, and then a couple of saves from Vicario. But other than that, it was relatively.
They weren't like Vicario's worldy type saves that he's had to make, though. Like they were savable. This I couldn't even see. I thought we'd scored. One of our players had scored this. I'm up so high. Porro corner, Romero flick header. He just flicks it on for danger, which I wish we did the more old-fashioned near post flick headers down on the deck because they cause chaos, right?
Yeah.
Flick header and see what was he doing though. I'm glad he did it, but what was he doing? Because like it was a great goal. If a striker had scored that, you'd have thought that's a good finish.
Yeah. If Richarlison had scored, I'd have been like, "That fair play to him." He's on the ball. I think he's just hit him. Really, he's tried to react and like head it, but he's not even moved his head. He's just headed it straight in the goal. I was looking straight at that, and I couldn't work out who'd scored. To be honest, I think it was none of our players ran anywhere, and I thought, "Oh, this is what's happened here." So it was obviously an own goal, but yeah, unfortunate for him. But I think he's just not been able to move out of the way of it quick enough. But again, Romero with those headers, he did one on Saturday as well, didn't he? Cross ball, headed it back across for Kolo Muani. So he's doing well with these sort of headers where he's these flick on. So Romero's looking dangerous on them.
Yeah, he is dangerous when he comes up. 4 minutes, Patilla takes that Dudera yellow card. Yeah,
wasn't even a foul.
Yeah.
If you watch it back, it's not even a play. He doesn't even touch him. So it's really disappointing on that one.
Well, I haven't put it in one of these minutes here, but do you remember the free kick? I don't know where you sit, but the free kick given against Richarlison for backing in. I thought
I see it.
Ridiculous decision.
I sit just in front of the press area, so basically on the halfway line. So I get a good on about 15.
You've got a lovely view of everything then, yeah.
So I got a good view of everything there, and I thought the referee was really poor with a number of decisions. Actually, real poor. I think he had a very bad game, to be fair.
And this 48 minutes, Sang Yang handball, Kuda scores the penalty. Actually, both these defenders, they passed me by both these penalty decisions because till they're actually given. Normally, you're screaming for one if you see something that's obvious and all that. When suddenly the referee blows penalty, and I'm looking down, this was one of your misses. Odebert 1-on-1 with the keeper, missed chance. Then we get the subs, 58 mil toll for Kudos. Normally we would discuss these players, but we've just done enough discussing earlier on, right? So we'll whip through this. I don't want to keep Gary up till like 4 a.m. Right, so 59 minutes, we got Saar for Gray. 64 Tell shot, Stanek saves. 68 minute, Moani for Richardson, Davis for Porro. Davis got a great reception when he came on from the crowd. That which surprised me actually, but he did. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Davis. Been at a club about 11 years now.
He deserves the reception he got. It's been a long serving. Again, I think it's just another one that's unfortunately kind of time's up now.
Bergvall for Odebert. I thought Odebert could have gone off earlier. I like the player. I like his potential. We'll see if he's got future at his club. And even this penalty, by the time Porro had made his way across that far, he was virtually over the corner line, basically. I thought nothing's going to happen there, right? But we get the penalty. Simmons, and I don't know about you on penalties, but I've always said all these players, it looks great when they go in the top right-hand corner, left right-hand corner, or through the centre over the goalkeeper's head and all that. But the hardest place for a goalkeeper to do is to get down. I don't think players are skilled enough. Hit the ball low and hard. If you hit the ball low and hard, the keeper's got to get down. It's hard. It just takes longer. If you hit it in here, you've only got to miss it slightly. The keeper's got a chance. This one, Simmons.
This is a good one. I thought the build-up play was well. It was a good ball from Bergvall into Moani's chest, chested it off, and then a good first touch from Simmons, and then gets tripped for the goal. He did look like he might miss it because he didn't. He tucked it in the corner, but it was a real good. The keeper got a good hand to it. So fair play. The Kudus one, like you say, he waited for the keeper just to move and he just slotted the other side. But I do see what you mean. Kane is smashing them in the corners. He's not waiting or stumbling like these, like Neymar sort of brought in. He's smashing them in the corners. Let's get the goal and go. And I agree with you. Pick a spot, hit it, score, and let's carry on.
On the Simmons, let's stick with him because I picked this stat up off. I do like the cross-reference stuff when I go to more than one source, but according to the source, all of 8 of Tottenham's victories since Xavi Simons signed have come after Simmons has started the game. I mean, can we read anything? I have to caveat this by saying we have won games without Simmons, right? Can we read anything into this? He makes a difference.
He does. He makes a big difference, and I think especially the last 2 games, he's made a massive difference. He looks physically bigger as well. I got a photo that I put on my show earlier, and he looks like he's filling out already. Definitely something going on in the gym. Looks fitter. Looked very happy. Looked like he was enjoying his football, and I really feel that having Gray behind him is helping him and is allowing him that breakup play, but also an option that he can run past him as well. He's linking up quite well with Kudus. I think it's just getting used to the standard of football in the Premier League. Like we said earlier, there's just not a lot of time on the ball as opposed to used to of PSG, PSV. He's come from Holland. The Dutch league's very, very technical, but you do get a lot more time on the ball. Premier League, you don't. And he's now adapting to that. So he's getting there.
This is what I noticed, right? Just noticed a little change in his game. I don't know if Maddison's had a word with him or someone's had a word with him. When he come on the first time in his first few games, he was hanging on to the ball too long and getting physically muscled out. I've noticed in the last 2 games, he's getting the raw ball quicker. And you watch it, and he's like Maddison. He has a look. He has a look where he's going. He put a couple of good long balls through yesterday, and he's passing quicker. He's releasing the ball quicker. I know it's now. I'm not against him holding on into. It was that time he tried to slalom past the play, like a Bergvall will take a sort of a sidestep, lift his weight over to one side and surge forward. So not so much as in the way of a dribble, and he got caught a couple of times, but just think his passing. Look, you've got such a good pass and such good vision on you.
He's just getting used to the surroundings.
Concentrate on that first before hanging on to the ball too much and getting used to the pace of the game.
Yeah, and he's got to get used to the players around him, right? It's all new people for him that we've obviously that's difficult to start with. There's a lot more physicality, a lot quicker. So he's getting there and he's adapting. And I think in the last 2 games, he's really played well. I think 2 man of the matches, scored in both goals. The assist at the weekend, great. 2 man of the matches on the spin, an assist and 2 goals. That's really good for him. Let's hope that he can now do that away from home as well. And we've got that energy behind him and the player, because Sarr will bomb past him as well to help him create further space because that will drag a player out. So it's all positive for him at the moment, and just long may that continue. He
got the penalty on that. If not, I would have actually. I know I was with him. If it wasn't for him, the second man of the match, I'd have given it to Gray. I thought Gray was good. I thought Gray was very good, and I want to see that for him. And this is why it looks like we're going to have a spot for choice in midfield. Right, the yellow card watch. VDV got his 3rd in this competition, which means you get a ban for 1 match. They're saying he misses the Dortmund game. I can't remember if the Dortmund game's before the Eintracht Frankfurt away game, because Dortmund's at home, Eintracht Frankfurt's away. So if he misses
Dortmund's away. Dortmund's away, isn't it?
No, Dortmund's at home.
Is it?
Go check it.
Yeah, just check it.
Frankfurt away again. We always win there. I did have the list of all the fixtures coming up.
Tottenham, Dortmund's at home. You are right. So that'll be that's the next game, which is 20th of January. Yeah, so he's going to miss that at home.
And we should have new additions. We should have brought in players by then, a transfer window, because a month then.
Frankfurt away to end it. So he'll miss the home Dortmund game. Hope Danzo a slot in, but that we might have some additions then, hopefully.
And then obviously at the end of January, when the window finishes, we've got to repost our list of players for the Champions League squad again. I think you're allowed to add. I'm not sure how many you're allowed to add. Is it 1 to 3 you're allowed to add? I'm not sure.
3 changes, isn't there?
Yeah.
Up to 3, isn't there?
But if it's up to 3, then Frank's gonna have a headache because Kula will be back. You know, Solanke's homegrown.
Yeah.
They won't. Surely they won't have Madison. Well, he's homegrown anyway, so I don't know whether they'll add him anyway, because he can be on the list. Like, yeah. So the more foreign players you bring in, the more difficult it is for Frank to select his, because he had the issue with Tell and Solanke in it. Tell only came in because of Solanke's 60-day injury thing.
Yeah.
Right. So onto the game. We're nearly done, guys. This surprised me actually. When I see stats, there's too many variables in stats that they don't always tell the full story. I mean, well, they don't. We know they don't. Looks like possession 53 to 40%. I thought we had more. I thought, well, it seemed to me we had more of the game. I'm a biased Spurs fan. You know what I mean? So
I think they did have large spells with it.
They didn't do nothing with it.
They didn't do anything with it, but they did have it for large spell, and yeah, in spades. And I think more in the first half than the second. But yeah, like I say, they didn't really do anything with it. And you can see here shots on target. They only had 5, and that's quite surprising actually. So I thought they had less than that.
Yeah, but total was 16 to 12. Yeah, blocked. They blocked 4 of ours. We blocked 2 of ours. Corners 8-3. Clearances 28-24. That surprised me a bit for us. Interceptions 10 to their 12. Passes, pass accuracy, crosses 15 to their 20. That surprised me as well. Fouls, trade cards too. Right. So we're finished.
I mean, looking at that, it's a relatively tight game, isn't it? But you look at the scoreline, it's a 3-0.
Yeah, they
2 penalties.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't good. Before we finish, just want to say to the 40 of you watching us various platforms, our shows are free. Please hit that subscribe button in the bottom right corner and give the video a thumbs up. It helps the channel if you like our content. Our next show will go out Friday at 10 o'clock, maybe a bit later for the American audience, and the one after that 9:30 on Sundays. But the midweek ones now are going to be, if they're on a Tuesday, we're going to be at 9 o'clock because people got to go to work in the UK. So we don't want them staying up late. So game management. Do you think Frank's sort of getting it right now? And we've seen it in the home games, like I say, a bit more attack minded. Do you think it'll do the same at Forest away? We were not having a good season.
The Newcastle game for me was a big turning point. I thought that was going to go one or two ways. That was going to be, it's probably might be time that he is going, and the sort of the Frank out movement was going to get louder. He changed. I thought it was a good performance. I think we backed up very well at the weekend. My only concern with that is I want to see it against teams that he doesn't know inside out, because he knows pretty much everything about that Brentford side. So yesterday, again, for me, was like, okay, let's see how we can take that from Saturday, but also within the 3 games, because he's not used to playing every 3 days.
Exactly.
And then take it into the Champions League. And again, I thought it was a well-managed performance. I thought that if we could have conceded, but equally we could have scored a number of chances as well. There was chances for us to score as much as there was for them. I think it's slowly getting to where it needs to be. It just comes down to recruitment and also the number of injuries that we've got in our forward line. In every one of probably all of our formations or teams we pick, Kulicheski and Maddison are probably in 90% of them. And it's difficult with any club that's got 3 of its sort of top players out. So especially in attacking wise. So it's coming. It's getting there. I'm very interested to see how we perform on Sunday, because Forest are up and down at the moment, as we know. I really hope that we get something similar in a performance. Gray, for me, has to start. Xavi Simons has to start in that number 10. And I don't see any change in that back 5 that we started with yesterday. So, yeah, I'm excited, but cautious as well. But I'd love us to finish the end of this year with these 2 games with some positive points and get up the league as best we can.
Right, I think we've about covered it. Kept you long enough. this is the link. Get over to Project Spurs on XCOM, guys. What you got coming up, Gary?
So we've got a fan show tomorrow. So the idea behind Project Spurs is to give people, all Spurs fans from wherever, just to give you a voice. You can send in a pre-recorded video of your thoughts on the latest game. So, for instance, it would be last night's Champions League game. I'll put that up on a live stream. I'll give my thoughts, do a little chat as well. I do sort of TikTok as well. Do sort of mostly daily videos of just sort of the latest news. Give some opinions on things as well. Mainly on Facebook as well, which under my name, which is Gary Ward. Just trying to create as much Spurs content as we can, news, following what's going on, opinion pieces, and giving people opportunity to have their say. I might not agree with your views, and that's absolutely fine. We're not going to argue about them, but I'm giving you a platform to say what you want to say what you think is going on, and just encourage more people to get involved in content creating, because it is quite fun to do, and it's nice creatively for your mind as well. So yeah, Tottenham fans, get involved and join us. So everybody's welcome. Yeah,
you can also find Spurs Diehards on Facebook. We have got quite a big group that I started in 2019. That's coming up to 15,000. Wish we could get them all over here. We've got an XCOM group as well. We've got a WhatsApp group which Gary's recently joined. That's where I use as a sync, and Ian and uses as a sync to get guests on when they're available. Everybody seems to be wiped out with this Christmas flu and bug at the moment, though. And we've got a Discord as well, but there's only got about 25 in there. But the XCOM group's got about 3,250.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
I stream to all of them. So I stream to live to YouTube, to Facebook, and to TikTok and to Twitter. My personal accounts, because of where I've come from as a live events producer, I've got a relatively good following personally, so I stream a lot to that to then build up a Tottenham audience base from there. But yeah, I stream to sort of all platforms really. I'm nearly at the point where we can sort of stream live the podcast to TikTok as well, which would be great. So just putting your content everywhere you can, and just encouraging more people to join. Like, I've got lots of great chats today that, your opinions are great, and some of the comments have been great, and you can get involved in these type of things too. And even if they're just 2-minute videos, just to get some confidence. As it is strange me sitting here now while I am talking to you, I'm actually just looking at a television screen with a camera and 2 lights shining on me. So it is a bit strange at first, but you get confident as the more you do it.
Yeah, if you want to come on their shows out there, we need your phone number. We need to add you to the WhatsApp group to be able to contact you in some way, unless you contact us through XCOM, Facebook, or some other and say, look, I'd be interested in coming on the show. We don't bite. We're pretty chill here, but we will, if we have to be harshly critical, we will be. But, we celebrate every success, because I will celebrate every victory. I don't care if it's a bad one, because I know there'll be times when it goes against us, right? So that's that. So with that, I want to thank Gary for coming on the show. I'm sure he'll make more visits, and our guests and our admins, I'm sure, will reciprocate and go on his podcast as well. And I want to thank everyone in the chat for your comments and for your questions. I want to thank all of you watching us on various platforms out there. I want a special big up to everyone that bothers to watch us on playback as well. Like I said, please subscribe to the channel, little red button in the bottom right corner we can't see. And with that, I think I thanked everyone about God and his mum and dad. I'm going to end the stream with a bit of soul music I wrote.
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, heart and We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue. Navy blue.